You can spend more money, upgrade your wardrobe, improve your space. You can reorganize things, replace things, even refine things on the surface, and still feel like something is slightly off. Not wrong, not broken, just not quite settled. And that's the part no one really explains, because from the outside, everything can look right. The clothes are better, the environment is cleaner, you've made the effort, and yet something isn't clicking internally. Because we're taught that elevation comes from adding better pieces, better habits, better upgrades, more but improved. But here's the shift that changes everything. Refinement isn't built through more. It's built through better decisions, quieter decisions, slower decisions, decisions you don't feel the need to justify immediately. And once you start seeing what's actually creating that off feeling, it becomes very difficult to go back to how you were doing things before. 1. Energy. Most people try to fix how they appear before they fix how they feel. They adjust the outside first because it's visible, because it feels productive. But that's where the disconnect begins. If your energy is rushed, slightly scattered, if your attention is always half somewhere else, nothing external will fully carry that. Not the outfit, not the space, not even confidence if it's forced. You can feel this in small moments, rushing while getting ready, answering before fully listening, moving quickly, even when there's no need to. So start here, not with what you add, but with how you move. Slow your movements, even slightly. Reach for things with intention, walk without urgency. Let your body catch up to your mind. Pause before responding. Not to perform calmness, but to actually access it. Because people don't read your outfit first. They read your pace, and your pace tells them everything. 2. Stop over-upgrading. One of the most common mistakes is trying to upgrade everything at once. A full reset, new wardrobe, new routines, new standards overnight. And it feels good for a moment, like you finally stepped into something better. But it rarely lasts, because nothing was actually refined, it was replaced. Quiet wealth doesn't overhaul, it edits. It removes what doesn't belong before it adds anything new. Ask instead, what actually needs replacing? Not everything, just the few things that quietly lower the standard. Maybe you've experienced this before. You bought something you thought would elevate you, a coat, a bag, a new version of yourself. And for a moment, it did. You stood differently. You felt more aligned. But then, a few days later, everything quietly returned to how it felt before. Because the issue wasn't what you had, it was how you were choosing. And that's the part most people skip. 3. Effortless pieces. The goal isn't to look impressive, it's to feel effortless. There's a difference. Impressive requires effort, adjustment, awareness of how you're being perceived. Effortless doesn't. When something truly works, you stop thinking about it. You're not fixing it throughout the day. You're not second-guessing it in reflections. It just exists. Correctly. You've probably had pieces like this. The outfit you reach for without thinking. The combination that always works. The version of yourself that feels settled. And if getting dressed still feels like effort, it's not because you need more clothes. It's because your choices aren't aligned yet. Not refined, just accumulated. And once alignment happens, everything simplifies. 4. Small details. Before major upgrades, look at what's already visible. The small things, wrinkles, wear, clutter. Not dramatic issues, just quiet signals, the kind you almost ignore, but still register. A slightly worn edge, a space that isn't fully reset, something that feels just a little off every time you see it. Refinement often lives here, in maintenance. Not transformation, not reinvention, just care, consistency, attention. And this is where many people get it wrong. They chase transformation and ignore what's already in front of them. But those small details are often the loudest signals. 5. Create space. If everything feels full, nothing feels elevated. Closet, calendar, mind. Too many options, too much input, too little space to actually think. Quiet wealth introduces space. And at first, it can feel unfamiliar, like something is missing, like you should be doing more. But what's missing is the noise you were used to. Clear space in your closet. Not everything needs to stay. Clear space in your schedule. Not everything needs a response. Clear space in your environment. Not everything needs to be visible. Because space doesn't just look better, it changes how you think. It slows you down. It sharpens your decisions. It gives you room to actually choose. 6. Pause before buying. This one shift alone can change everything. Create a delay before purchases. Not restriction, just space. Time between wanting and deciding. Because most impulses don't survive time. They feel urgent at the moment, convincing, necessary even. And then, a day later, they disappear. You've probably felt this. Something you almost bought that now doesn't even make sense. And what remains, berti up, is usually what actually belongs in your life. Not everything you want, just what aligns. 7. Environment. Your environment sets your standard, not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, consistent way. What you see every day becomes what you accept. But don't rush it. You don't need to perfect everything at once. Start with one space, a corner, a room, a surface. Let it feel calm, complete, intentional. This how, sit in it, experience it. Because once you experience what right feels like, you stop tolerating what doesn't. Burn pride. And that's when your standards shift, naturally. 8. Speaking, you don't need to say more. You need to say less, with intention. Not every thought needs to be expressed immediately. Not every silence needs to be filled. Let silence exist. Let conversations breathe. There's a difference between presence and performance. The women who feel the most composed are rarely the ones explaining themselves the most. They're not rushing to clarify. They're not over-adjusting in real time. They're comfortable, letting things land. 9. Longer thinking. You don't need a 10-year plan. Just step slightly out of urgency, out of immediate decisions, immediate reactions, immediate upgrades. Ask yourself, will this still feel right in a year? Not exciting, not new, right. That one question quietly filters out most unnecessary decisions. Because urgency fades, but alignment doesn't. Women with strong taste don't rely on discipline forever. They don't force every decision. They don't constantly correct themselves. They build environments where good decisions feel natural, where the better option is the easier one. And that's when refinement shifts. It stops being something you're trying to do and starts becoming who you are. Not effort, identity, Quiet wealth isn't about appearing rich. It's about feeling composed, clear, intentional, unrushed. It's the absence of friction, the absence of noise, the absence of constant correction. And once you experience that feeling, you start choosing differently without forcing yourself to. Not because you should, but because anything else starts to feel off. You don't need a new life. You need a more considered approach to the one you already have. If you've been craving a calmer, more considered way of living, you're in the right place.